Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel where we are learning occupational skills and knowledge. Right? And our topic or chapter 2 is fasteners, hand tools, and power tools. So we have done a bit of fasteners, and now we are at the topic of hand tools. In hand tools, pipe cutters are important. Pipe cutters are used to cut black iron or copper. Right? So pipe cutters are used to cut black iron or copper. Then there are tubing cutter. Tubing cutters are used to cut copper, brass, aluminum, or small low thickness, minimum thickness conduits, electrical conduits, right? But the thickness should be less, right? So whenever there is a installation of a gas piping or any installation where we have to cut the black iron or the copper, we use pipe cutter. And when we are cutting like brass, aluminum, or conduit, we will use tubing cutter. So these are the two things, and you have seen these two things. If not, I can show you the picture. So this one here is pipe cutter, right? So we can see that pipe cutter consists of so many things. We will define each of them. And this is our tubing cutter. This is tubing cutter. You can see, have a look at this, so you know that what we are talking about. So tubing cutter and pipe cutter. So gas piping or tubing can be made either black iron or copper. Black iron or copper. So what we use to cut these pipes? Pipe cutters. Right? Gas piping or tubing can be made either black iron or copper. This question can be asked, that gas piping or the tubing can be made of either and the blank. And you have to know that black iron or the copper is the right answer. Pipe cutters consists what we see in the picture, right? You can see the parts, right? So all these parts are there, like roll, wear plug, roller pin. There's a cutting wheel. So we should remember that the cutting wheels are, we have to make sure that cutting wheels should be free from burrs and nicks. There should be no burrs or nicks on the surface of a cutting wheel. Using damaged cutting wheels, what will it cause? It will cause the pipe to be crushed or damaged. So we should not use a cutting wheel which has got burrs or nicks, right? If you use that pipe cutter which has got the burrs or the nicks, it will damage the pipe, right? Then there is a tubing cutter. So tubing cutter are used to cut copper, brass, aluminum, and thin-walled electrical conduit. Thin-walled electrical conduit, right? So these can be cut by the tubing cutter. And you know now the tubing cutter. How does tubing cutter look like? Hacksaws. Hacksaw should be used on metal, right? Hacksaw should be used on metals. So saws and hacksaws. Saws are used to cut the metal. We say only saw. If we say saw, we say saws are used to cut material such as wood and metal. We have seen saws, so I am not showing you the picture. So saw is like a saw. In general, cross cut and rip saws should be used on wood, right? We learned in the previous section the TPI, threads per inch. So the more threads per inch, teeth per inch, the blade has the finer. The blade will be fine, right? The finer the blade will be. And if there are, so the less teeth per inch means the blade is coarse. So blade can be fine or coarse depending on application. We have to select the blade of a hacksaw. Hacksaw should be used on metal. Hacksaw should be used on metal. The more teeth per inch on the blade, the finer the blade is, right? And once you cut the pipe, we have to remove the burrs, because now when we cut, there are burrs on the surface of the mouth of the copper, right, face. So reamers are used to remove the inside burrs from the pipe after it has been cut. So after cutting, what we have to use is the reamers. Reamers are used to remove inside burrs from pipe after it has been cut. So you have to remember, right? Another thing which is important is, I put it here as a question, a burr will act as a resistance to fluid, flow in the pipe. So we have to clean it. A burr should not be there. When we cut the pipe, we have to use the reamers to remove the burrs inside the tube. Otherwise, what will happen? A burr will act as a resistance to fluid flow in the pipe. So this is a fact, and we have to remove the burrs before fitting it into the piping. Pipe dies. Now next is, I can show you how the reamers look like. There could be fluted reamers or spiral reamers. There could be a handle type, or there could be a, you can put these reamers into the small drill machine maybe to clean the burrs, and it looks like this. You can have a picture. So spiral reamers, and you can see the reamers, right? Why reamers are used? Reamers are used to remove the burr after cutting the copper tube or any tube, right? So now we have dies. What are the dies? We call simply dies or pipe dies, right? So pipe dies are used to cut external thread onto the pipe. If we need external thread on the pipe, what we use? We will use pipe dies, right? Pipe dies will make tapered threads. Why they make tapered threads? Because tapered threads will fit together to form a leak-free connection. So if you want to have a leak-free connection, what you have to do? You have to make a tapered thread. So pipe dies are used to cut external threads into the pipe or onto the pipe, usually black iron or NPT. But what is NPT? NPT stands for National Pipe Thread. Nominal Pipe Thread. NPT stands for Nominal Pipe Thread. What is NPT? NPT is a standard ensuring uniform thread coarseness. NPT is a standard ensuring uniform thread coarseness. So you should know, a technician should know that what NPT means, because you will be facing this terminology most often in the field. Black iron NPT. NPT means nominal pipe thread. And nominal pipe thread, what does it mean? It is a standard ensuring uniform thread coarseness, right? And then what we have? We have dies, right? We have dies. Dies can be ratchet type or by electrical driven motor. So dies can be, what for dies, what for we use dies, right? Dies can be used to make the thread, right? So there can be a hand die or ratchet type die, or there can be a electrical driven motor dies. Thread cutting oil is used to reduce the pipe friction. When you use these dies onto the pipe, you have to put, if you are doing it manually, then you have to, after 2 or 3 rounds of the pipe ratchet, right, you have to put some oil, right, as a lubricant, cutting oil. Why? To reduce the friction between the dies and the pipe surface, to cool the pipe and the die, right, and flush away the metal chips. So if you are on the lathe machine and making thread, the same thing. You have to put some coolant, you have to put some cutting oil so that it can flush away the metal chips. Most dies are interchangeable, right, and they are sized according to pipe diameter. So if you want to have a look at the pipe die, you will see when you go into the field, you can see these types of the pipe dies. So this is pipe die. This is ratchet type pipe die, right, which has a lever and the die is inside this circular piece, and you can interchange the die according to the requirement. And this is like a electrical driven pipe die, and you can see several dies are there, right, and you can change the dies as per requirement, right, as per required size. So this is about dies. Dies can be ratchet type, like a hand type dies, or by electrical driven motors. Then we have tube benders. These are all small hand tools, and you will be facing and you will be using these into the field. When you go to the field and you are doing some piping work, copper piping or black iron piping or any sort of piping, you have to have these things, because you can cut the tube, you can bend the tube, you can make the threads on the pipe. So all these things are important, and they come in exam like in a like the way I showed you on the board. And I will also type them when you go into the description, because I have a complaint that this is not readable, but I am also typing it. So when you go into the description, you can read all of them typed for you, right? So tubing benders are used to safely make long or short radius turn in copper or stainless steel tubing. So what are the tube benders? Are used to make long or short radius turns. So if it is not a 45 or 90 degree radius bend or turn, because 45 and 90s are available, but if it is a long radius or the short radius, right? So we use tube benders to bend the tube according to our angle, according to our size. These benders are designed to support the tubing wall, avoiding the kinks or unwanted bends in the tubing itself. So it should be smooth. It should not produce any kink or bend. The last thing on this is in hand tool is flaring tool. What is flaring tool? Flaring tool will put a 45-degree bend at the end of the tubing, right? Flaring. So flaring tool will put a 45-degree bend at the end of the tubing. Why? In order that it may be joined using a mechanical fastener. So the flare nut is on the top. If you want to put the flare nut and then you may want to make a fitting, then you have to have this 45 degrees so that that nut cannot pass through the tube, and then it will be staying there because of this band at the end of the fitting, and then you can produce the fitting whatever you want to produce. So in this way we covered few of the hand tools, and in hand tools we have done pipe cutters, tubing cutters, hacksaws, reamers, and then we did pipe dies, and after pipe dies we did bender, right? Pipe dies and then bender, and last hand tool we did is flaring tools. So hope you like the video. You have to go through this one more time, and any question can be asked. It's not only that which I have shown you, that tapered threads will fit together to form a leak-free connection. It can ask you this part as a fill in the blank, to leak-free connection instead of this, right here. But if you know the sentence thoroughly, you can fill up the blank easily, because it will be a multiple choice questions, right? So you have 3-4 choices and you have to select the correct answer. For example, a burr will act as a resistance to fluid. It's very important. It always comes in exam. Resistance to fluid flow in the pipe, right? So these kind of questions are made in this occupational skills and knowledge exam. So hope you like the video. If you like it, thumbs up, and press the bell icon button to receive another knowledgeful video. Thank you for watching.